Hare Krishna. You sang Jai Radha Madhava, right? Oh, okay. I thought you did. Okay. All right. Or can you follow with harmonium? Yeah, okay. Yeah. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Banachare Yamuna Tira Banachare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Shri Shri Radha Madhava Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Ki Jai Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Mai Shri Shri Gaur Nitai Ki Jai Navangrai Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Skongro Brinda Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Brinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Hare Krishna. So, I'm glad that today you got a double treat. The new darshan of Lord Jagannath, and Jagannath's really shining this morning. I think he's very happy to be back on the altar. And Shri Prahlad Prabhu's Kirtan. Haribo. And so, this is the proof that there is no loss or diminution on the path, even though we got stuck on the way in trying to find our path around the marathon blockages. But it was advantageous. So we continue reading from the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 4, the atrocities of King Kamsa. And we continue with text 31, going to text 35, which is on the board because it's with the purport. Hamagyantimirandasya Gyanandana Salakaya Chaksharanmilitam Yana Tasmai Shigurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Karamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Manchakapatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubevacha Patitanam Pavanepyo Vaishnavepyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnaparaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakta Brinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Bhutay Mahat Priyay Mahapuro Vibhur Nirmaya Kshete Yadamusha Purusha Bhunte Gunan Sadasa Sadasatmaka Ilang Krishishta Bhagavan Vachamsi Me Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So I'll read the first 4 texts and then we can chant text 35 responsively. Evam chetarhi bhojendra puragrama vrajadishu anirdasan nirdasanscha Hanishyamo Dyavaishishun. Translation. If this is so, O king of the Bhoja dynasty, beginning today we shall kill all the children born in all the villages, towns and pasturing grounds within the past 10 days or slightly more. Kim Ujjamai Karishanti Deva Samara Pirava Nityam Udvigna Manaso Jagosai Tanushastava. The demigods always fear the sound of your bowstring. They are constantly in anxiety, afraid of fighting. Therefore, what can they do by their endeavors to harm you? Asyataste Sharabratai Hanyamana Samantata Jijivishava Utsrija Palayana Parayayo. While being pierced by your arrows which you discharged on all sides, some of them who were injured by the multitude of arrows, but who desired to leave, fled the battlefield, intent on escaping. Kechit Pranjalayo Dina Niyasta Shastra Divokasha Mukta Gacha Shikha Kechit Vitasma Itipadina. Defeated and bereft of all weapons, some of the demigods gave up fighting and praised you with folded hands, and some of them appearing before you with loosened garments and hair said, "O Lord, we are very much afraid of you." And so text 35, let's chant responsively. Natvam vismrita shastrastran Natvam vismrita shastrastran Virathan bhaya samritan Virathan bhaya samritan Hamsyanya sakta vimukhan Hamsyanya sakta vimukhan Bhagna chapan ayudhyata Bhagna chapan ayudhyata Natvam vismrita shastrastran Virattan bhaya sambritan Kamsyanya sakta vimuktan Hamsyanya sakta vimukhan Bhagna chapan ayudhyata. Okay, please. Anyone? Natvam vismrita shastrastan Viratan bhaya sambritan Hamsyanya sakta vimukhan Bhagna chapana yudhyata. Natvam vismrita shastrasam Hamsyanya sakta vimukhan Bhagna chapana yudhyata. Any ladies? Natvam vismrita shastrastran Viratan bhaya sambritan Hamsyanya sakta vimukhan Bhagna chapana yudhyata. Hamsyanya sakta vimukhan Bhagna chapana yudhyata. Demoniac words are even hard to repeat, right? Synonyms: na, not; tvam, your majesty; vismrita shastrastran, those who have forgotten how to use weapons; virathan, without chariots; bhaya sambritan, bewildered by fear; hamsi, thus kill; anya asakta vimukhan, persons attached not to fighting but to some other subject matter; bhagna chapan, their bows are broken; ayudhyata, and thus not fighting. Translation purport by His Divine Grace Bhakti Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. When the demigods are bereft of their chariots, when they forget how to use weapons, when they are fearful or attached to something other than fighting, or when their bows are broken and they have thus lost the ability to fight, Your Majesty does not kill them. Purport: there are principles that govern even fighting. If an enemy has no chariot, is unmindful of the fighting art because of fear, or is unwilling to fight, he is not to be killed. Kamsa's ministers reminded Kamsa that despite his power, he was cognizant of the principles of fighting, and therefore he had excused the demigods because of their incapability. But the present emergency, the minister said, is not intended for such mercy or military etiquette. Now you should prepare to fight under any circumstances. Thus they advised Kamsa to give up the traditional etiquette in fighting and chastise the enemy at any cost. And so, taking into consideration that the enemy were infants, that was really embarrassing, right? But it is very interesting that even demons in Vedic culture followed some etiquette. But we can see the difference between divine and demoniac personalities, that demons follow etiquette very superficially, but when it comes to their own, to defend their own interests, they give it up, and they do anything and everything for their own sake. So Kamsa was advised by his demoniac ministers that he should massacre infants. And interesting parallels with biblical story of Jesus' appearance. The demoniac king back then ordered to do the same thing. And so we can see that the demoniac behavior from here very clearly Bhagavad Gita is describing in the 16th chapter very elaborately who are the demons, pravrittim cha nivrittim cha janana vidurasura, that demons, they don't know what should be done and what should not be done, and they don't have good character, and they don't behave properly, and this is of course very improper behavior. And it is very easy to understand that demoniac behavior is based on self-centeredness, that they can follow some culture, some etiquette, but when the question comes to defend their interests, they can do it at any cost. Of course, in modern times we have seen very interesting example of Nazis who also massacred children and women and anyone and everyone. It was called genocide. They were trying to eliminate certain species of human life, certain races. And so the idea was very demoniac, that we are the superior race, and that's why we are the only ones who have right to exist, and all the inferior races have to be eliminated. And that's why they never stopped at any atrocity. But interestingly enough, they were thinking themselves to be Aryans and best of all people. And some historians say that one of the closest Hitler's allies was always carrying Bhagavad Gita with him. And so they believed that what they do is Kurukshetra. And Hitler is another incarnation of Krishna. So that's a very interesting lesson from history. Many times we think Hinduism is very peaceful, but we can see a very interesting example that when Vedic ideas are in the demoniac hands, what can happen, right? That's why Vedic standard was not to give knowledge without any discrimination, because the misuse of knowledge can be very dangerous. And so we can see here that Kamsa also has Vedic knowledge, and he preached. Kamsa is a good preacher, is it not? he preached to Devaki and Vasudeva so expertly that you're not the body, so you should not be attached to the results of your action, and you should not lament about your children being killed by me, because this is your karma. Right? So this is demon. Very good in preaching, knows Vedic philosophy and follows Vedic etiquette, but does that for his own sake, right? And is surrounded by the same type of people. So, and I think the most important point for us is to learn this lesson from history and not follow Kamsa's path, not become like Kamsa. Because of all types of demons, we can see that Vedic demons are the worst because they have knowledge and they have certain powers, and so they can create a lot of disaster. And that's why Srila Prabhupada was stressing that this movement is not really meant to produce armchair philosophers, but people of character, of the best character. And that's why when we speak about devotional service and being devotee, and how do we discriminate demon from devotee? Is it by sari or dhoti? I mean, Kamsa and his allies were also wearing dhotis, right? Didn't make them into devotees, though. And that's why when Srila Prabhupada was asked, how do we know that someone is your disciple or your follower, what did Srila Prabhupada responded? That my real disciple is a perfect gentleman, referring to qualities, not to external features. And we can see that this is exactly what's lacking in demons, gentleman behavior. They are not gentlemen by any stretch of imagination. They are ruffians, and they are very selfish. They only think about themselves. And therefore, when Krishna is describing devotees in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, he explains what does it mean to be a devotee, what does it mean to be dear to him. He speaks about very important qualities. And what are the qualities? Actually, everything Bhagavad Gita explains is very systematic and very scientific, and it gives quite long list of qualities, about 31, I think, from my count. Some of them are repeated, so sometimes it's a little difficult to count. But it appears that there are 31 distinct qualities mentioned in chapter 12. Adveshta sarvabhutanam maitra karunaivacha nirmamo nirahankara samadukka sukakshami santushta satatam yogi yatatmadrita nishchayaha. So list continues like that. But it is very interesting how these qualities are organized. Let's look at the first three. Adveshta sarvabhutanam, which means having no hatred or enmity towards any living entity. So being positively disposed towards anyone, even towards those whom we can consider our enemies, right? And why devotee has no enemies? The reason is very simple. Devotee has no selfish motivations in life, and that's why he have no reason to fight with anyone for anything. Right? Devotee doesn't consider anything to belong to him, and that's why he has no enemies. Right? And second one is Maitra. What does it mean? To be friendly. Like Srila Prabhupada's disciple, late disciple, Mula Prakriti, Devi wrote a wonderful book, Srila Prabhupada, the friend of all. And she described how Srila Prabhupada befriended everybody with his behavior, because he was a perfect devotee. So he could make friends with everyone. And we can see these examples in scripture. Narad Muni, he is friends with everybody. He is, what to speak of devotees or ordinary people, he is friends even with Kamsa. Kamsa hates demigods. He is fighting against Krishna, but he is always happy to see Narad Muni. When Narad Muni comes, Kamsa has great reception for him. Why? Because Narad Muni is understanding Kamsa's mind, and he is encouraging Kamsa. He's inspiring Kamsa in his demoniac ways. Sometimes we read those passages where Narad Muni tells Kamsa, why did you stop to kill those children? No, you should, Kamsa actually didn't want to kill the first 7 children, right? He was only intended on killing the 8th child. But why did he start killing all the children? Because of Narad Muni. Narad Muni came and he said, why do you want to take risks? You better kill all the children. And so, if we wouldn't have purpose of Srila Prabhupada and the Acharyas, we could think, oh, Narad Muni is in Maya. He took the side of the demon. No, Narad Muni is not in Maya. Well, in one way he is, but he is in Yoga Maya. He is under the influence of Lila Shakti energy of the Supreme Lord, and that's why he knows to accelerate Krishna's appearance, Kamsa has to do as much atrocities as possible. So he's encouraging Kamsa, know that your role in life is demon. Why do you want to act in the right way? So continue with your demoniac behavior. And then we'll see Krishna arriving and killing you. Of course, he doesn't tell that to Kamsa, but this is what Narad Muni is thinking. So, but he is acting in such a way that he can find common language and befriend even such a demon like Kamsa, which is interesting. Why? Because devotee does not perceive anyone as friend or enemy. He perceives everybody as players in Krishna's pastimes. That's all. And so that's why he's very positively disposed towards everyone. One philosopher said, this world is a tragedy for those who feel and a comedy for those who think. If you think carefully about what's going on in this world, it's a comedy, right? Means that we're wearing these, what do you call them? Bags with bones on ourselves, and think this is that's me, and we become really serious about it. And so this could be one reason why Krishna is always smiling, standing on the altar, watching this ongoing comedy, which is called material world. And so if we are Krishna conscious, as confirmation, if we are Krishna conscious, then we won't be worried about anything. Rather, we will see that this material world is pure comedy, right? And so, and I am sometimes also acting like a comedian when I'm taking things seriously, and so I'm also deserving to be laughed at, and so it's better that people are laughing at me than crying over me. Right. And so Narad Muni is not worried about demons. He can make friends with any demon. That's the qualification of a devotee. And of course, pure devotee we're talking about. And then karuna, compassion. Devotee is compassionate towards all, and he's trying to help everybody. And we can see that the tendency to be negatively disposed or envious of, whom do we normally envy in this material world? Towards whom our envy is directed? Towards those who are better than us, right? Towards those who are higher than us, right? In any respects. Or why he has more money than me? Why she is more beautiful than me? Why they are more respected than me, etc., etc., right? All these advantages become causes of envy. But if someone knows how to perfectly relate to anyone above, he will have no negativity. And with whom shall we make friends? With those who are equal, right? And towards whom shall we show compassion? Towards less fortunate. And so from the start, when describing these qualities, what does it mean to be a devotee, dear to Krishna? Krishna says, one who can perfectly relate to seniors, equals, and juniors, right? And then only after that comes nirmama, nirahankara, right? Nirmama means not holding onto anything, right? Not considering anything to be my property, to have no attachments. That's only possible if one has perfect relationships with everybody. Only then one can become free from all attachments. And nirahankara, that's even deeper, right? Ahankar means false ego, right? Or considering myself to be something in this material world, have pride of, becoming special personality, right? Everybody thinks that I am special. Of course, we are special, like everybody else. Everybody is unique, and so we are no more unique than other people. But false ego makes us think that we are. And so we can become free from ahankara only after we become free from attachments. And then samadukkha sukha kshami, right? Then we can become equiposed in happiness and distress, and santushta satatam yogi, right? Then always satisfied. So this is how a devotee is, always satisfied and happy, and having perfect relationships and having no attachments. And so actually Prabhupada stressed, the lists are varied from one place to the other. Most common list of 26 qualities is given in Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Srila Prabhupada often referred to that specific list given by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But if you compare the lists, they're very similar, right? Only maybe some qualities are added in some places, but basic list is the same. And Srila Prabhupada was stressing in one class, he was saying that these 26 qualities of a devotee are so important that devotees have to put them on a poster and place them in some visible place in the temple to make sure that everybody knows this is our goal, this is what we want to achieve in terms of spiritual development. This would be the achievement, right? Not name and fame, position, or any type of acquisition, that these qualities would be the real proof that we become devotees. And so we can see what Bhagavatam shows, that devotees, whenever devotees are described or depicted in Bhagavatam, there are always people of these wonderful qualities, and whenever demons are described, they have opposite qualities, right? Dampho, what's that? Dampho, Vimanam Cha, what does 16.4 says? Forgetting Sanskrit. Anyway, it's pride, deceit, and all the other qualities. They belong to demoniac class of people. And actually it's very interesting why chapter 16 describes who the demons are and how demons even think. Ishvaroham, aham bhogi, sitoham, balavan sukhi, etc. It's in such great details because it's very relevant to the material world, because material world is the place for demons. And if we come across someone who is not a demon, that's so rare. That's why devotees are so rare, and that's why Srila Prabhupada was so concerned about every single devotee who joined this movement, because devotee means at least 1 out of 1,000. This is a minimal ratio, and so Srila Prabhupada was very much interested in preserving those devotees who join this movement and making sure that they are fully satisfied in their practices of Krishna consciousness. And so that's why he was using the, I think it's coming from him, right, the proverb, charity begins at home. And he was very much interested in taking care of those devotees who already joined the movement, and he wrote a famous boiling the milk letter, and actually he repeated that number of times, that we should make sure that those devotees who already joined are fully taken care of and trained, and they're fully happy in their Krishna consciousness, and then naturally it will be organic growth. But somehow, you know, the mood was always expand, expand, and expand. And I was actually mentioning one time that before Srila Prabhupada left his body, he had one very, very big concern. And he was telling many devotees, please do not make me another Alexander the Great. Because Alexander the Great conquered many, many lands, but then because he didn't have the system in place to ensure that there is a proper, proper care of the places he conquered. Then after he moved on, the population of those places being dissatisfied, they rebelled, and everything went back to square one again. So he was losing. He was conquering the lands in front of him, and he was losing all the lands behind his back. And so Srila Prabhupada was very much concerned about it, that we do not become like that. Because, you know, it's like, what's the use of gaining and losing, gaining and losing, gaining and losing, right? And so that's why quality. I think this is the word we should always meditate on. Quality of everything. Not so much quantity. Because we can see that even in business, when there is a focus on quantity, then quality goes down automatically, right? But when there is a focus on quality, then everyone becomes interested, everyone appreciates, and so I think quality is one word we can safely focus on in terms of our spiritual practices to ensure that we do not fall into the trap of material energy and become diverted from our goal. Hare Krishna. I didn't want to speak for too long, but if any devotees are interested in the subject, and you can contribute whatever you think about it. We have Shri Prahlad Prabhu, Vijay Gopikar Prabhu, other senior Vaishnavas here. So if you like to say something about it, you're very welcome. I'm sure Shri Prahlad Prabhu has.
Bringing those verses from the 12th chapter to our attention of the parallel, the 26 qualities. That was very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. But anything you want to add? Okay. All right. Anyone wants to? Yes, Vijay Gopikar Prabhu.
Question. You mentioned the distinction between a demon and a devotee. Now, what criteria should we use? Because gentleman is a very broad, somebody is a perfect gentleman. See, someone like Jarasandha, for example, he worshipped even Shalikara, he worshipped Vishnu, but he considered a demon.
Yes.
Many principles they followed to a large extent.
Yes.
Ravana was a Brahmin. So what is the line that distinguishes the devotee and demon?
Very good question. What's the line which distinguishes demon from devotee? Because even devotees in Vedic times were following Vedic culture to a great extent, but still they were demons. Demons were following Vedic culture. Still they were demons. And one time Srila Prabhupada saw a businessman who came to Radhakund, and he pointed at him and he said, the difference between, and he was, doing his puja and all, and he said the difference between us and him, that he is serving Krishna to get benefits from Radharani, but we are serving Radharani to please Krishna. We're using, we serve Radharani to please Krishna. It's like Sita Devi, Ravana kidnaps Sita Devi, right, to enjoy. But Lakshman is taking care of Sita Devi and protecting her. So he's serving Sita to please Lord Rama. And so this is the basic difference. What's the mentality? We can do the same thing. Demons and devotees can do the same thing, but the goal is different. That devotees do whatever they do to please Krishna, and demons, they want to use Krishna to please themselves, or to use anything connected to Krishna. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was calling it cracking nuts using Shalagram Shila. Cracking nuts with Shalagram. And he was telling the story that one pujari, he was paid brahmana. He was serving one rich man. Rich man didn't have time to worship Shalagram Shilas, so he hired one brahmana to worship those Shalagram Shilas, and he gave him a pack of shelled nuts in the shell. And this brahmana was offering those nuts, and he was thinking, these nuts look very nice, but I'll have to give these nuts to the landlord, but I want to have some nuts for myself. There will be no opportunity to try these nuts once I come off the altar, so I should try some nuts right here on the altar. And so how do I crack those nuts? So he couldn't find anything to crack the nuts with, but he found the solution. He took one shalagram shila and started cracking nuts with the shalagram. Right? So this is what we're talking about. This is the junction, right? When we start doing things for ourselves, this is material consciousness. But when we do it for Krishna, this is devotion. And of course, material consciousness, if it is unchecked, can lead to demoniac behavior. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes.
How does not accepting when somebody offends a spiritual master or another devotee, how does that not accepting that or standing up for when that happens fit in with being a perfect gentleman?
Yeah, how not accepting offensive behavior towards spiritual master or Krishna or Vaishnavas fits with the gentleman behavior. Well, we should stop offenders, and Vedas are describing that different categories in human society use different means to stop the offenders. It says that Shudra, if he hears the offenses, he has to commit suicide. Vaishya has to make an excuse and leave. Kshatriya has to physically punish the offender, but Brahmana has to use spiritual knowledge to help one to overcome the ignorance. And so we can understand that Srila Prabhupada was aiming at making Brahmanas through creation of ISKCON, right? And so that's why Brahmana approach is the best one. And it's always there, and actually it's a very good question, because sometimes you come across these kind of things, criticism and which is of all types of useless talks, which are defined as prajalpa in Vedic culture. Bhaktivinoda Thakur considers that to be the worst of all kind of prajalpas, criticizing spiritual masters, Vaishnavas, etc. And if someone is junior enough and we have kind of trustworthy relationships, we could tell him that no, this is not a good thing, you should not criticize, etc. But unfortunately, many times, those people whom we come across, they would not listen to us if we tell them not to do that, right? If we try to correct them, they would not accept the correction, right? So what to do? This is $1 million question. Anybody wants to know the answer? How to deal with such circumstances? Yes? Okay. So, first thing is to understand why people do that. And it's just a sheer ignorance. They do not accept responsibility, they act irresponsibly because, criticizing and blaspheming, what are you going to achieve by that? Okay, you will assassinate someone's character, right? Will that help in development of your Krishna consciousness or other people's Krishna consciousness, etc.? No, it definitely won't. And so this irresponsible behavior is based on ignorance, and ignorance means I do something, but I do not think about the consequences of my action, right? For myself and for others. And so that's why the best way to help people to help themselves is by asking them lead questions, asking them clarifying questions. And so the best type of question, which can be rephrased in any way according to the circumstances, but this is like the principal question. You can ask anyone who is criticizing just to, bring them back to their senses without spoiling the relationship, without straining your relationship, right? Because if you try to correct someone who is not willing to be corrected, the only thing you will achieve is to destroy a relationship. You will not achieve any results with that person, right? Because that person is already stuck in one's, perceptions. But how do you change perceptions? By pointing out at the fact that one should be more responsible. And the best lead question to help one wake up is, so what is your plan of action? What are you planning to do? Right? And so then they may share their plan, if they have, and then you can still ask further questions to check the validity of the plan and effectiveness of the plan, right? So in this way you can help the person with the reality check without, kind of imposing, something artificial. So we can say that's within the category of gentleman, approach. Shipralad knows many of those tips and tricks by being qualified psychologist. Any other type of approach? But maybe any other way how to respond in that circumstance?
I would like to, I was just appreciating the approach you've suggested, and I think it's a good idea to leave it at that, so that we can focus on one effective approach for the time being.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Anyone else? Yes, bro.
You talked about the qualities. You said how Prabhupada said we should post those qualities on the walls of the temple to invite those qualities. I also heard devotees say that one should not artificially try to mimic those qualities, then they become material. So real qualities will manifest automatically by doing devotional service, and those are actually spiritual. So could you clarify on that?
Yeah. Actually, we do many things in Krishna consciousness kind of artificially. There is a proverb, fake it until you make it. And I think we do a lot of that. You know, sometimes when someone says or does something which does not make us really happy, we want to tell the person what we really think about this kind of behavior, but we may, restrain ourselves and pretend, just let it pass, pretend that, okay, it's fine, nothing happened, right? So it's kind of, we can say it's artificial, we're not being sincere, but it's better to be artificially polite than, sincerely offensive. And so in that way, we can understand that even if we artificially try to follow the principles connected to those qualities, then naturally act in, under the influence of the modes, of the lower modes. All right. So I think we should stop here. Thank you all very much for your kind attention. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.